Twin Sisters Digital Media presents Little Red Riding Hood. Written by Rebecca Bonder. Illustrated by Diana Magnuson. Once upon a time, a kind grandmother stitched and sewed a red-hooded cloak for her one and only granddaughter. "I will wear it everywhere I go," promised the loving child. And she did. She wore the beautiful garment so often that everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, the gentle old woman fell ill. "Your grandmother loves you so very much," said Little Red Riding Hood's mother. "You should go to her cottage. A visit from you will make her feel better." "Let's pack a basket of grandmother's favorite things," suggested Little Red Riding Hood. Her mother took out a basket and they filled it with muffins, cheese, apples, and a jug of fresh milk. "Now, hurry on your way," said Little Red Riding Hood's mother. "Don't dilly-dally and don't talk to any strangers." As Little Red Riding Hood skipped through the woods, she saw her friend the woodcutter. She waved to him as she continued on her way. It was a beautiful day, and Little Red Riding Hood walked along happily, greeting the squirrels and the singing birds. By the time a wolf appeared from behind a tree, Little Red Riding Hood had forgotten what her mother had told her. "Hello, my child," said the wolf. "Where are you going on such a pleasant day?" "I am taking this basket of treats to my grandmother who is ill," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Isn't that kind of you?" said the clever wolf. "And where does your grandmother live?" "Her cottage is near the stream, just past the pine grove," answered Little Red Riding Hood, for she did not know that the wolf was wicked and cunning. "Aha," thought the wolf to himself. "Now that I know where the grandmother lives, I can trick her and the child. By day's end, I will have gobbled up both of them." "I am certain your grandmother would love to have some flowers too," suggested the wolf. "Why don't you stop here and pick some for her?" "What a wonderful idea!" exclaimed Little Red Riding Hood. While Little Red Riding Hood picked daisies and buttercups for her grandmother, she did not notice the wicked wolf sneaking off in the direction of her grandmother's cottage. When the wolf arrived at the cottage, he boldly knocked on the door. "Who is it?" called Grandmother. "It is I, your dear Little Red Riding Hood," replied the wicked wolf in a soft voice. "Come right in, my darling child," said Grandmother. That mean wolf wasted no time. He grabbed Grandmother and gobbled her up in one gulp. Then he put on Grandmother's cap and nightgown and settled comfortably into her bed. "Oh, my poor sick grandmother," said Little Red Riding Hood as soon as she arrived at the cottage. "You do not look well. Look what big ears you have." "All the better to hear you with, my dear," said the sly wolf. "But what big eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to see you with, my dear," replied the wolf. "But what a big mouth you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. And with that, the wolf jumped out of bed, tore off the nightcap, and shouted, "All the better to eat you with, you silly girl." Little Red Riding Hood called for help as the wolf chased her around and around. The woodcutter, who happened to be nearby, heard Little Red Riding Hood's cries. He rushed inside Grandmother's cottage and hit the wolf on the head with a branch. The wolf fell to the floor. "I think he has eaten my poor grandmother," cried Little Red Riding Hood. The woodcutter immediately cut open the wolf's stomach with Grandmother's sewing scissors. At last Grandmother was free. She gave Little Red Riding Hood a big hug while the woodcutter sewed the wolf's stomach back up. When the wolf awoke, he saw the woodcutter, Grandmother, and Little Red Riding Hood standing over him. He was so surprised and frightened that he jumped up and ran deep into the woods. The cruel, scheming wolf was never seen by anyone again. "Thank you, brave woodcutter," said Grandmother. "You have saved our lives." "Won't you please stay and share our lunch?" said Little Red Riding Hood. The three unpacked the basket of treats and sat down at the table together. They laughed and celebrated for the rest of the day, knowing that the wicked wolf was gone for good.